Nintendo can finally do it. They can finally put an end to our suffering, to everyone out there begging them to please end the bleeding, please end this process and reveal the Nintendo Switch 2, the worst kept secret in all of gaming. But it appears that Nate the Hate and other people are corroborating that the pain ends this week. The suffering is done. Nintendo will apparently reveal the Nintendo Switch 2 this week. That is this week. Yes, I know. I'm not stuttering. I'm not making something up. I'm not necessarily just saying this is what I predict. This is something that people that maybe are in the know more than us, that have gotten information right before in the past, are saying now with the Nintendo Switch 2. We're going to break that down. Plus, we have a release date from somewhere else as well, or more like a release month target to where we can see the Nintendo Switch 2, some follow-up presentations. Man, it seems like things are going to get a lot more interesting. And we're not talking about leaks overall. We're talking about official Nintendo business with the Nintendo Switch 2. But before we get into all that, what's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get the latest up-to-date Nintendo Switch 2 information, live streams, and more first as soon as they drop. Now let's go ahead and jump right in to what we're talking about here, because we've got apparently the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal happening this week. And guess who? Yes, Nate the Hate, my man. He is talking about this on his podcast that he recently had that I'm pretty sure is going to get a lot of people watching, because he said this, that the announcement is coming January 16th. Quote, "I can share with you that Nintendo Switch 2 will be revealed in the coming week. I have been told Switch 2 will be revealed on Thursday, January 16th. Just a few days from now. I've heard that the reveal itself is going to focus most exclusively on the console itself. There is not going to be any presence of games. There could be a game shown running on the screen, depending on how the trailer is put together, but software is not going to be a focus." Now, during the podcast, he did mention that Nintendo will follow up with an event focusing on games in late February or early March. Further speculation points to a possible May or June launch for the console. So we'll talk about that in terms of the speculation, because there are more people that say right around then. So we're going to get into that. But first, we got to break down this first thing said here from reliable insider Nate the Hate. So Nate the Hate saying Thursday, that is the 16th. That is this week. That is exciting if that's the case. Now, I do believe what he's saying here, or at least the information that he got. Now, could there always be a change of plans, or something happens, or the information was bad? Clearly, he could be wrong. However, I will say that I got to give Nate the benefit of the doubt, at least for right now, right? The benefit of the doubt, because he's gotten multiple Nintendo Directs. He got a lot of Nintendo Directs right, and he got a lot of information right over the course of the Nintendo Switch's life, and Xbox and PlayStation. So I'm going to say, hey, look, his information is probably solid, and we might see something very soon when it comes down to this. Now, it does also make sense that it would be focused on the console or hardware itself, and then later on software. Why does that make so much sense? Well, that's exactly what they did with the Nintendo Switch 1. The Nintendo Switch 1, the first reveal trailer, was not focused on software. Nintendo wouldn't even confirm what those games were. Now, we knew what some of those games were, but they wouldn't confirm the actual names, the release dates, what they are, or anything. They just said, hey, look, here's the system. And they focus on the system and the functionality of the system, the versatility of the system. And I think that that stems from them wanting to make sure people know exactly what it is, because of the debacle with the Wii U. Wii U was revealed in a type of way where people were confused. They want to make sure that nobody is confused with this upcoming trailer. So I'm pretty sure that they've spent a ton of time focusing, isolating, and looking at what they need to do to make sure to convey that this is a sequel. This is a new piece of hardware. This is not an add-on, an attachment, a something else, a weird type of thingy, a downloadable content, whatever the case is. I think Nintendo's going to make sure that this trailer reveals exactly what the Nintendo Switch 2 is about, and how it is a new version of the line of what they've done with the Nintendo Switch, and you're going to get new experiences by buying this system. That's going to be the most important thing. There were even third-party games in the Nintendo Switch 1 first look trailer, and when asked by press, hey, is that the latest version of NBA 2K, or is that the latest version of the Skyrim game, they weren't even allowed to answer that, which led to widespread speculation by certain content creators that Nintendo lied about the games coming to the system, or that it's the Xbox 360 version of Skyrim and not the newest one, since they can't confirm which one it was. Yes, this actually happened. So yes, I do feel that it can be very similar to that, because nothing was confirmed in terms of games. That Mario game that they showed, heck, I said it was Super Mario 3D World port or something at first. Like, I didn't even know what it was. Nobody knew what the games were overall. We just knew that there were some games that looked familiar to what we've gotten, and then, of course, some other games as well. So I think that that could be the case here with the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal, that they really just show off the hardware and say, hey, here's the first look at it, and then it'll probably give us some new details on some of the new gimmicks or mechanics with the system. A lot of people have discussed, like, oh, it's just going to be the exact same thing, and I don't think it's going to be exactly just the same thing. I think it's going to be very similar. It's going to be something to where, yeah, it's obviously like a Switch 2, but there's going to be other stuff added in. So, for example, Nintendo to Super Nintendo, or Nintendo DS to Nintendo 3DS, or Game Boy to Game Boy Advance. It's very similar to something like that. So Nintendo has done a follow-up or a successor to a system. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. Nintendo has done that before, where it's not a completely, oh my gosh, radically different concept each time that they go from one system to another. I'd even say that the N64 to the GameCube was also more of a sequel. It was just a way better N64. That's what the GameCube was to me. So this is definitely exciting, but we have to wait and see how things shake out. Now, I am interested in seeing exactly how Nintendo's going to announce the announcement of having this thing. So I'm guessing it might be like what they did back in 2016, where they had the Mario kind of behind the curtain and said, hey, get the first look at the successor to the Nintendo Switch tomorrow at this time. So that'd be pretty cool. That'd be cool, and that'd be hype, and I'd absolutely be down for it. And we're gonna live stream and react to every single bit of it. So it's going to be really cool. Now, I want to get into the next thing here, and that is the release timing for the Nintendo Switch 2 itself. Yes, there was speculation that it could be May or June or something like that, but now we have VGC saying, hey, look, here's what I've heard, and I want to go over what they have to say, because they have said that the Nintendo Switch 2 is launching in May or June of 2025. So the gaming news media is reacting to the info from the insiders we previously mentioned, especially the info from Nate the Hate. One of them is Video Game Chronicle, or VGC for short. At one point, Nate the Hate speculates that the Nintendo Switch 2 would release in May or June of this year. Not only did VGC acknowledge the speculation, but they even confirmed that it matches what VGC has heard from its own sources. So assuming this is true, it seems that Nintendo may be aiming for a summer release for the console. And once again, rumor, we don't know 100%, but not only is VGC corroborating what they said here, but Eurogamer and I guess Tom Warren corroborated what Nate the Hate said about the system reveal being this week. Now, I don't know about Tom Warren, but when it comes to Eurogamer, okay, I understand, because Eurogamer, they blew the story open with the original Nintendo Switch 1, and they've gotten a lot of stuff right when it comes to Nintendo Switch 1 and directs and certain type of stuff. So they are definitely credible when it comes to that. Like I said, I don't know about Tom Warren. I mean, he doesn't know what software means for the Nintendo Switch. He thinks that it's all digital, but I get it. You know, he might have his sources too, or whatever the case is, but hey, it is what it is. Shout outs to Tom Warren. But let's talk a little bit more about this supposed release date for it. I think that May or June would work. I do feel that, you know, people were talking about maybe March or April, and I said, okay, at the earliest April, because you do need at least a few months. But yeah, a May or June release would absolutely make sense. If you reveal it down at this point, you have a follow-up bigger presentation later, like February or March, and then you launch it a couple months after that, or a few months after that. That completely works, and it follows the same timeline that Nintendo had with the original Nintendo Switch 1, with a October reveal, a January presentation, and then a March launch. That 5 to 6 month plus window that works so well in terms of getting the information out there, making sure pre-orders are all set and solid, showing off the software, then having the distribution and logistics time with all of your business partners and retail stores, and just marketing and advertising in general. So it all makes complete sense, and I do think that Nintendo is going to start gearing up here. A May or June release just makes a lot of sense. Also, if you're talking about from the younger audience, kids are out of school. Hey, I want to be able to have something to play while we go on trips or vacations or something. So it just all lines up to be so good. And on top of that, a earlier release like this, if there is hardware shortages, that struggle in order to get those hardware shortages taken care of, it gives you more time before the holiday season. The one thing that you don't want to have, like Microsoft and Sony, is have the hardware struggles during the holiday season and lose out on all those potential sales. So if Nintendo can get the hardware out there, get a lot of the hardcore fans going to rush out there and buy it, deal with the scalpers, deal with that type of stuff, and then get that done in the first number of months of the system's life, then by the holiday, if you have the software to go along with it, that is going to be a hot ticket item, which I do think that Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be huge overall. It's definitely going to have a lot of people excited and anticipated because it is a sequel to one of the best-selling systems of all time, third best-selling system of all time right now, and looking to pass up the Nintendo DS for number 2 this year. So I do think that people are going to be super hyped, and it's going to be a console that people are ready to pick up and buy all year long. So very interesting. And I do want to talk a little bit about what we could see software-wise, because Nate the Hate and other people did corroborate that there will be a bigger presentation later that's focused on software. That's also what Nintendo did. So it just, once again, makes sense, like the January presentation where they showed off a ton of software, and I would love for them to do the same exact thing, but just make sure that Suda doesn't go off script this time when it comes to the translator, but do the exact same thing. Have a nice presentation where you show off more about the mechanics or what's new about the system, talk about the price, the online, some of the other functions and factors with the system, and then go into that software. That is the lifeblood of any system. That's really what depends if a system does well or not. They have to have software that rates well, that the fans love, that just do good. You have to have that, and if you don't have that, you're going to have problems overall. So go into that software in terms of first party and third party, show off some unique fun games. If you have something like your new ARMS or new Splatoon or whatever the case is, right? Really cool ideas, new IPs, new-ish type of games, show those off, then show it with a touch of the old school, show it with the touch of everything so you can get everybody involved in terms of old school fans, new fans, and everything. The cool thing that I appreciate about the Nintendo Switch 1 presentation that we got was that there was a game for everyone there. You had the Skyrim if you want that, you have FIFA if you're into that, you have stuff like a No More Heroes announcement, Shin Megami Tensei 5 announcement, Octopath Traveler, you had Mario, you had really weird new type of games like ARMS and everything, you had the staple of Splatoon coming back and early in the life of the system, you had Xenoblade Chronicles 2, there was just a plethora of games that was shown off in a way that really just made the system seem like you have to go out there and get it, or at least try it out. And I think that that's what they need to do with the Nintendo Switch 2, with the games presentation that they have later. And I think that they can really pair that up with obviously awesome hardware and really show the capabilities of what the Nintendo Switch can do, not necessarily from a, oh my gosh, brute power, this standpoint, but how much better everything does look and feel compared to the Nintendo Switch 1. Because if you compare the builds of the Nintendo Switch 1 with the like OLED Nintendo Switch 1, just compare like the original with the OLED version, man, the OLED just feels so much more solid and better constructed. Now you've had about a decade to really work on the design and so of the Nintendo Switch 2. I think that it's really going to make for a nice system overall, and just like I said, for a great reveal. So I'm absolutely very much looking forward to what Nintendo's going to do there, and I think that the software is going to be good. There's been speculation on what software could be there. I do think that a big 3D Mario game is going to be there. Obviously, Odyssey was huge for the original Nintendo Switch reveal. Even that first trailer, that was Odyssey, and then we didn't know, but that was Odyssey. And then later the presentation, that was just so good. And they didn't even reveal the real full like mechanics of Cappy and everything. So a big new concept 3D Mario game would be incredible. Obviously, a brand new Mario Kart needs to be addressed at this point. People have been patiently waiting for the next Mario Kart game because we didn't get a wholly new Mario Kart game in the Nintendo Switch 1 era. What we got was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and yes, it's definitely a changed and much improved game over the Wii U version of it, but it's still Mario Kart 8. So actually getting a brand new Mario Kart game with new concepts and designs and characters and races and tracks and all sorts of stuff, I think that is going to be key as well for the launch and the success of the Nintendo Switch 2. So I think that those two games could definitely show up. So I do feel that all of that is in play for the Nintendo Switch 2 games presentation. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So what are your thoughts with everything here with the Nintendo Switch 2 and what's happening? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch RPG videos and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.